Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It's Wednesday, September the 3rd. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the Australian share market is poised to continue its negative beginning to September, with ASX futures down around 0.4%. This follows a session on global markets which saw equities fall while longer dated bond yields rose and gold extended its record high. On Wall Street, the share market began the shortened week lower as traders reacted to a US federal appeals court which ruled most of President Trump's tariffs are illegal. All major indices finished down, with real estate among the biggest S&P decliners. Among the Mag 7 stocks, Nvidia, Apple and Amazon, which are at the front line of Trump's trade war with China, fell, with Nvidia's share price dropping below its 50-day moving average following last week's results. However, shares of Alphabet rose more than 6% in extended trade after a US court ruled that Alphabet-owned Google will not have to sell off its Chrome in online search monopoly case, but the tech giant has been ordered to share data with competitors in online search. Shares of Kraft Heinz dropped after the company said it will split into two, one focused on groceries and the other on sauces and spreads. Shares of PepsiCo gained after Elliott Management disclosed a $4 billion stake in the beverages company, while shares of Corona beer maker Constellation Brands fell heavily as the company cut its 2026 forecast due to soft consumer demand driven by tariff-related price hikes and economic uncertainty. And US-listed shares of the gold miners rose, tracking the higher bullion price. Well, President Trump has said his administration will ask the Supreme Court for an expedited ruling on tariffs that a US appeals court found illegal last week. The court allowed the tariffs to remain in place through to October 14th to give the administration a chance to file an appeal with the Supreme Court. The ruling threatens to undercut the president's use of levies as a key economic policy tool. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said he's confident that the court will uphold the president's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs on most trading partners. US manufacturing shrank by more last month than economists had expected, according to an ISM report, potentially giving the Fed more room to cut interest rates this month. Meanwhile, in the Eurozone, inflation in August rose to 2.1% year on year, as expected, while annual core inflation remained steady at 2.3%. The US two-year Treasury yield rose to 3.65%, the 10-year yield up to 4.27%. And markets have priced in an 85% chance the Fed funds rate will be cut by 25 basis points at the next meeting on September 18th, with around 5 more cuts in total in this easing cycle. And the US dollar index is up more than 0.5% on the day. The Aussie dollar has fallen back to 65.2 US cents. And Bitcoin is trading at around 111,000 US dollars. Oil prices have risen after the US imposed sanctions targeting Iran's oil revenue stream and ahead of an OPEC Plus meeting this weekend where analysts expect the group will not unwind remaining voluntary cuts. Brent crude futures up around 1.5% to $69 a barrel. Copper rose 1%, iron ore up 0.5% to $102 a tonne, and gold is up more than 1.5% to a record $3,532 an ounce. Ahead locally today, we get GDP data for the second quarter, with economists expecting a quarterly gain of 0.5%, and RBA Governor Michelle Bullock speaks tonight. And those stocks trading ex-dividend today include Newmont, Origin Energy, Pro Medicus, Seek, Sonic Healthcare and Whitehaven. That is your day ahead. We'll see you again tomorrow.